The gentlewoman from Massachusetts, Ms. Clark, is recognized for her questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Administrator McCarthy. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your testimony, and I especially appreciate the correct pronunciation of carbon. I did want to ask you another percentage question. What percentage do you think of low-income people, in fact, all people in the world, would be affected by climate change if we do not do something to address it?
I believe that everyone, 100%, are already being affected and will be much more severely impacted if we don't take action now.
And will that impact be felt first, do you believe, by low-income people?
Yeah. It usually is, and in this case it will as well. And I think that's well known across the world, and I think you're seeing it play out right away. That we need to adapt to the change that's already happening. But people in low-income areas do not have the kind of wherewithal to be able to adapt that many of us actually enjoy. And so it is up to us to meet our moral responsibility, not just to them, but to our kids' future, and take action.
We've had a lot of discussion here today about raw data and its role. Could you go into a little bit about independent peer review and how we actually review and determine what is valid science to base our regulations on? I do not have scientific training. I am an attorney by profession. I don't think that I am qualified to look at raw data, even if redacted, to make an assessment of good policy and laws. We need scientists to make that interpretation. Could you go into a little detail about that for me?
Yeah. Yes. The way that it works is that we have to have our science independently peer reviewed. You need to have an open process that's transparent, where you pick experts with the knowledge in that field.
Can you have transparency without releasing every bit of raw data?
We do have transparency. We have transparency in picking those experts. We have transparency in their discussion of what they think about those documents. We have public review and comment on those documents. And that's before we can really rely on them as the basis of regulatory action. But we almost never just look at one document. We look at a huge, robust document, a series of science in order to underpin our major rulemakings. And the way that it works is the scientists don't look at the raw data. They can, if they want. They can reach an agreement with the researchers who own that data and sometimes own some of the modeling that's used to analyze it. But they don't need to. They look at it within the context of their knowledge of the science and the broad body of knowledge that we look at to see if it is being done correctly according to the science, if all of the factors that should be discussed are being discussed, and it's looked at within that context. And it's further, it can be replicated by others, but they don't all sit around saying, I'm going to take another 4 years, give me the raw data, and I'll give you a sense of whether this works. That is just not the way that science is done. That's the way that science can't get done.
And do you see other agencies that are also looking at science where that is the process, that they are going back to the raw data?
If you name an agency in the United States that is a credible science agency, that is how they do their work. That is what the National Academies is. This is how you do it.
And speaking of analysis, last month, the Union of Concerned Scientists came out with a report that found recent decisions in state laws that predate the Clean Power Plan have resulted in 31 states already making commitments that have put them halfway towards their 2020 benchmarks. Do you think we're going to be surprised at how easily and efficiently states are going to be able to meet these benchmarks, even if the plan was not there?
I think that the challenge for us is to make sure that through our rulemaking, we do what the law says, which is to reduce carbon pollution. The way in which you can make that all affordable is to look at how the energy transition is already happening. And instead of thinking you have to go way in front of it, you go behind it and you keep pushing. That's how this works. And so I will not be at all surprised to see either the utilities or the states go way further than we require. In fact, that's usually exactly what happens. It's called good regulation and rulemaking. And I think this is exactly what we did with this carbon pollution plan, because we give every state the flexibility to actually design the plan for themselves. All we're doing is setting the standard. It's far enough away. The technologies are there. They're going to keep getting better if we send the right signals. And I think we'll see this be an opportunity for us to continue that energy transition towards clean energy and low carbon that people are demanding.
Thank you, and I yield back.